Hi everybody, this is Dark Storm Comic Reviews here, and we are continuing on with our Green Goblin reviews. And as you can see, we're on issue 6. And as you can see from the cover as well, this is going to be a crossover with Daredevil. Starring Daredevil, you got him on the front cover right here. It's going to be kind of a team-up book. So, and again, I really like this cover. I like how the bad things that the Goblin uses kind of make up his face. So that's pretty cool. So it's pretty awesome. I kind of like that. And then you got Daredevil here on the cover. You got the guest starring. You got the title. It's pretty cool. But yeah, so we start off our story, and if you guys don't remember from the last issue, issue 5, there's this judge named Judge Toombs that Phil's Uncle Ben was kind of investigating because Ben figured the judge was tied to like organized crime. And when Ben got too close, the judge basically sent like minions to take him down because Ben got a little too close to the judge, and so he decided, you know what, I'm going to send my minions and I'm going to take Ben down. So yeah, Phil's kind of tailing the judge because he took down his uncle, so he kind of wants a revenge in a way. As you can see, we got him kind of flying on his glider here. Pretty cool image. I like it. I really like Phil's design as the Green Goblin. It's a really cool and kind of different look. You got the chest exposed and everything. You got the long cape. It's kind of different. It's not very different, but it's kind of different from the other goblins. I just wanted to mention that real quick. Yeah, as we keep going, and we see the judge kind of get out of a cab, and kind of go into his place, and Phil's just kind of watching him, and he's kind of talking to himself like, I don't really know why I'm doing this. I don't know if I'm doing this because the guy trashed my uncle, or if I'm just kind of getting in more into the hero business, but I'm doing it, so I'm telling him. You can see his glider right here. But then we get this kind of shock surprise because someone kind of talks and it kind of startles him. And it's funny because, okay, he hears someone talking and he gets startled, and he tries to like be smooth and turn around his glider, but he ends up slamming into a chimney. So here, I'll get a better view for you guys here. Sorry about the glare. It's going to kind of be a thing, but you see he gets startled, he tries to turn around, and he ends up slamming his glider into the chimney. He's not really a pro. But yeah, so we find out that the guy is actually Daredevil. And he's like, hey, how you doing? And, Phil's all startled. He's like, hi, I wasn't really expecting you. And first he's really freaked out because he's like, I'm the Green Goblin, maybe he's here to kick my butt and stuff. But then it turns out that Daredevil's cool. He's really chill about it. Daredevil's really chill about it. And he goes, no, man, I'm here to help you out. I'm a friend of Ben Urich's too, and I hear you're tailing him because of all the Judge Toombs stuff and all the, the crime stuff that's happening and stuff. So, and he basically goes like, I got a lead that someone's trying to take him down. So the judge is kind of involved in that. So Goblin's like, yeah, sure, we can team up. So they team up and they just kind of talk and stuff. A little bit of dialogue about Ben Urich and how he's a very open-minded person. Like, he's really the only one that's really given the new Green Goblin a chance. And they're both like, yeah, he's a pretty cool guy. I like him. He's a very open-minded guy. Also, I mentioned this, my first issue review, I think. Ben Urich, Phil's uncle, is actually the only person who knows who Daredevil's secret identity is, which is Matt Murdock here. So, yeah. So yeah, they're just kind of walking around. Daredevil's like, I got a lead. There's this place full of gangsters and thieves and stuff, and I got a lead that might help us. And it's funny because at first Phil's like scared out of his mind because he's like, because as we know, his character, he's not really into confrontation. He doesn't like getting into battles. He doesn't like really fighting. He doesn't really like getting into the battles and stuff because he likes to keep himself safe. He's really concerned about himself. He don't want to put himself into battles. He's not like Spider-Man or that guy who likes to go fight and stuff and do the battles. So he doesn't like to get involved in those. So we're just like, no, I don't want any part of that. I don't want to do that. I don't want to go. But he follows Daredevil anyways. And they find themselves at a bar. And Daredevil tries to use this tactic to flush this guy out called Benny the Broker. And it ends up working because he calls him out and he runs. And there's this cool scene where Green Goblin and Daredevil kind of set this whole rehearsal thing up to try to get some information out of Benny here. And when Benny escapes and gets out of the bar, the Goblin's there just like waiting for him. And it's all kind of a funny little act. Goblin kind of acts as like the scary monster, and Daredevil's kind of trying to keep the Goblin off. And it's all used as like a tactic or rehearsal to get Benny to spill the beans here, I guess. So it's pretty cool. Got the Goblin here. He's pretending to be scary. Daredevil's pretending to keep him off, and he's going, Goblin, don't hurt him. Don't hurt him. Don't hurt this guy. He'll tell us what we need to know, right? Right, Benny? You'll tell us. I don't want to stick my friend on you. Yeah, and he just spills the beans and all the information about the hit on Ben Urich. And Phil goes, or Green Goblin goes, I like this. I like the whole... I really play a good villain. Oh, here it is. I'm trying to find this thing for you guys. Yeah, he's all pretty happy about it. And see the guy's crying here. But anyways, we get to the next part, and Phil's going to work because he works as a intern for the Daily Bugle. We see Jonah Jameson here, and he's kind of making a reference to he's talking about how, I guess, Ben Reilly's the current Spider-Man right now. That's kind of a whole different story, the Clone Saga and everything, if you know what I'm talking about there. But anyways, he's talking about, Spider-Man and how he's a bad guy and how, he's different looking now, kind of a reference to the Clone Saga. But anyways, you see Phil walking around. He's talking about how Jonah Jameson, he's never run into him before, and he didn't really plan to until this freak accident happened where he slips on some coffee and runs into him. So, and then it's funny because he says, man, and I thought the Hobgoblin was terrifying. This guy, I haven't been this scared since my fight with the Hobgoblin because Jonah just lets loose on him. Jonah Jameson freaks him out. And to make matters worse, the girl that he likes comes to his rescue, which kind of makes him look like a wimp. So it's kind of like, that's not too good. He get yelled at, and then the girl that he wants to be with comes to save him. So it didn't really make him look good. But he wants to ask her out. He's thinking, ooh, Lynn Walsh, this is my perfect opportunity to ask her out. But then his uncle kind of pulls him away. Or, where's it? Right here. Pulls him away, so he didn't get to do it. He's like, gosh darn it. But then he ends up in the moors because his uncle has a job for him. He's an intern here. And he's looking into him. He's looking into the attacker who might be trying to attack Ben Urich. And he's also kind of looking out for Daredevil to see if he's helping out too. Because Daredevil told Phil or Green Goblin that he would keep an eye on his uncle. I hope I'm getting the images for you guys decently well here. I know it's kind of a shadow this time, the lighting. But I'm trying to do my best. But yeah, so Phil, so they were talking earlier on the section. They're talking earlier about how Ben said the judge set up a meet, and so he's going to go discuss something with them. And Phil's like, yeah, that's not happening. They want to ace you. Yeah, they want to get rid of you. So Phil suits up, puts on his goblin mask, flies off to the skies. I really, really like this. And again, just a reminder, when he puts on his goblin suit in particular, when he puts on the mask, he gets like a jolt, which kind of supercharges his reflexes and strength. So that's how he gets his powers. Right here, he puts on the mask. So he flies off, laughing away. It's a cool image. Hopefully I can get it for you guys well enough here. But yeah, flies off, and he uses his specialized lenses to look at his uncle to make sure he's okay. He's scouring the rooftops. He's trying to make sure everything's clear. But what he didn't count on was the fact that Daredevil was standing right there. And he totally freaks out because he's like, I thought I had everything surveyed. And then all of a sudden, this guy pops up out of nowhere. It's kind of a funny scene. So yeah. And then at first, Phil's like, he's ready to unload on Daredevil because he's like, you should have been keeping your tags on my uncle. You should have been keeping up with my uncle. You said you were going to help out. And also, he kind of scared him, so he's probably ticked off about that too. But then Daredevil's like, no, hey, dude, be quiet. I hear something in the distance. I think I found our attacker on Ben Urich. And so Green Goblin's like, okay, whatever, sure. Oh, and for those of you who don't know, Daredevil, one of his powers is that he has heightened hearing. So we can hear from far off distances and stuff. I'm not really a Daredevil fan, but I've seen the movie and I've seen other stuff. So yeah, I think he has a heightened hearing ability. But anyway, so they're off. They find out that their attacker is a guy named Purge. I like the gun weapon he has here. It's pretty cool. He has a machine gun attached to his arm. And he was about to attack Ben Urich. Purge was. And Purge, I think, was sent by Judge Toom Judge Tomb hired Purge to take Ben Urich out. So that's how this all ties in together. So Green Goblin and Daredevil show up, and they get into this pretty cool fight. The art in here is pretty good. Again, the art in this series isn't the best I've seen. It's okay. It's got some good moments. It's got some kind of meh moments. But it's fine. You know, it's serviceable. And we get this cool fight. Bullets flying everywhere. Ben decides he hears gunshots and he's like, I want to investigate this because I'm an investigative reporter. But he decides, you know what, no, Jameson really wants me on this Spider-Man story, so I got to really get to it. Plus, I need to be home for my wife early tonight, so he decides to bail, which is a good thing. And so when we get to this battle, and the guy Purge also knows martial arts because he kicks this chimney here. Daredevil was able to jump off, and then we get some more action. The Purge is firing a machine gun at Goblin, and he's kind of dodging it. And we just get some really cool fight scenes. So Daredevil using one of his nunchucks to knock the hand off. Tries to throw a kick at him. Purge throws him off. And Purge is about to kill Daredevil. But then Green Goblin kind of swoops in and saves him. Or Phil does, yeah. And Phil was like, I really should bag this. Like, and we talked about this, where he's not really a hero. He's kind of just more in it for his own self-interest. And he's not really into getting into battle. So he's kind of thinking about just ditching Daredevil and leaving him alone. But since really Daredevil kind of depends on Goblin right now, he's like, no, I'll save him. I'll come back to save him. So he does. He kind of saves Daredevil for the moment. Tries to take Purge out. Purge calls him Purge calls him kind of like a wannabe. Like, you're nothing but a wannabe. You're nothing like Daredevil, you're just a fake. And so Phil didn't really like that, so he decides, he basically says, no one disses the Green Goblin. Chucks a pumpkin bomb at him. It explodes. And there's a good moment here where Purge is hanging on the rope about to fall off, and Daredevil's like, hey, you need to help that guy. He's a bad guy, but we can't just let him die. And we get a good sort of evil Green Goblin moment here, where Phil's like, screw this guy, man, screw this guy. He's an assassin who tried to kill my uncle. We didn't tell him he's his uncle, but you know what I mean. He tried to kill my uncle. Like, we can't let him live. He's a leech. And so Daredevil's like, he kind of gives him this cool speech where it's like, but yeah, there might be good people, innocent people who depend on this guy. Sure, this guy's bad, but he might have family who cares about him or friends. Plus, we're the good guys. We can't just, let the bad guys fall to their deaths or let them die. That would make them no better than us. So he Phil's like, all right. Sorry. So Phil's like, all right, I guess I'll save him. So he does. Purge is about to fall to his death. Well, Daredevil almost gets him right here. But then Purge kind of starts to fall to his death. But then, Purge is about to fall to his death here. And the Goblin saves him, picks him up. And then Purge starts choking him out, and he's like, well, that was a dumb move, guy. I can take you out just like right here. I'm going to choke you down. I'm going to take you out. But before he can do that, the Goblin kind of stuns him with a ledge here. So I just want to make sure I'm showing you guys all this. Picks him up. You can see his face right here, and then he starts to choke him here. Then Goblin stuns him with a ledge by shoving him up against the ledge. It's a pretty cool scene. But yep, stun him with a ledge. And then Phil kind of gives Daredevil more crap, and he goes, did you see this guy? Like, he tried to choke me. Like, and then Daredevil's like, well, justice is its own reward. You did the right thing. And Phil's like, screw this, this guy. I don't really care about this guy. I don't care about this bad guy. I just care about my uncle. I only care about my uncle. I don't care what happens to this guy. He's a bad guy. Screw your whole justice nonsense. And it's kind of like a good evil Green Goblin moment in a way. Like, this book is cool because it's like Phil could go in either way. He could go the good route, and he could kind of go the evil route. And with this, we see more of like the evil route. And I kind of like that. It's not really one or black or white. It's kind of like, But yeah. So they're like, okay, we beat him. And Phil's like, how do we know more bad guys aren't gonna? How do we know the judge isn't gonna send more bad guys? And Daredevil's like, well, we're never gonna know. And Green Goblin's like, well, let's send him a little message. So Phil decides. You got the judge here. He's kind of waiting for the word back on Purge killing Ben Urich. He's waiting for the word. But then all of a sudden he sees that a glove gets thrown through his window. We get maniacal laughter, and it's sort of like a. Let me make sure I get the page for you guys here. It's him. We get the window breaking, and the machine gun hand right here, and some maniacal laughter from the goblin. And it's sort of like a, if you contact my uncle again, this could happen to you. It's kind of like a little insurance thing to make sure the judge doesn't send more minions after Ben Urich. That was uncle. Yeah, and so he gets back to the Bugle. It's like he had a good day. Everything kind of worked out. But then we find out a reveal where someone comes in and she's asking for Ben Urich. Phil's uncle. Phil's like, yeah, well, I'm his assistant, so maybe I can help. We find out that this lady who's here is actually none other than Liz Allen, the late wife, the wife of her late husband, Harry Osborn, the second Green Goblin. So that kind of leads somewhat into the next issue. And, yeah, that was issue 6. And yeah, it's a good issue. That was the last issue we did. It was a good issue. It's a fun little team-up issue. I liked it. I like how it kind of shows both the bad and the good sides of Phil Urich as a character of the Green Goblin, because he wants to save his uncle. He wants to take this guy down and save his uncle because he really cares about his Uncle Ben. It's kind of a heroic thing to do, but then you get on to the point where he's like, screw the bad guy, man. Let's let him die. Just kill him. Kind of like an anti-hero in a way. So it's kind of like he kind of goes both sides. He goes to the good and to the bad. So it's kind of interesting because he could go either way. But overall, it's kind of like he's more into the thrills and the spills, and not really more the heroic stuff or the villain side. But yeah, good issue. I enjoyed it, and yeah, this has been Dark Storm Comic Reviews. Signing off.